Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, GITTEN Samach Hey. We are holding on Samach Hey Amud Aleph, 4 lines from the top. Now in yesterday's DAF, Rav Chizda tells us that according to Shmuel, one who is a katan or a katana, underage boy or girl, cannot be mizake. At most they can be zeiche for themselves. They can acquire something if one gives that to them. But they cannot make a kinyan on behalf of another person, no matter how smart or how intelligent they are. Here comes a kasha on that opinion. Mosiv Rav Avya. Ma'arimin al ma'aser sheni. As Rashi explains, when one redeems ma'aser sheni fruit, how much does he have to pay? So if he's an ordinary person, non-owner of that fruit, fair value, fair market value, with no additives. Whereas if the owner, the balabayas, the farmer himself, the owner of that fruit, comes to redeem the ma'aser sheni, because it's too difficult for him to bring it now to Yerushalayim, so he wants to redeem it, transfer the kedusha onto money, which he will eventually spend in Yerushalayim. He has to add a fifth, a chaymish. Says the Brisa, Ma'arimin al ma'aser sheni. There's a way out. There's a way to cut corners, to avoid paying the extra chaymish. How's that? Ketzad, how? Aimer adam livnoy ubiti agdoilo. We have the owner himself, who turns to his son or daughter, who are adults, independent people, or la'avdoiv shivchasei ivrim, slave or maidservant who are ivrim, Jewish, in which case they have independent, identity. And he says, look, I know, you don't have your own resources. I will hand you some money, and you go be paida my ma'aser sheni on my behalf. And this will exempt him from the fifth, because they're doing the pidyon on his behalf. He's not doing it. They're doing it. Hey lechem ma'it. Here, take some money. Halal, this money. Uptu behen ma'aser sheni. And use this money to be paida the ma'aser sheni. So this, in effect, is a zechia la'achirim, because they're making the pidyon on his behalf. They take something saying something which is kaddish and being paided for him. And this enables him to eat the ma'aser sheni without adding the fifth. Okay, so here we go. We have a son, a daughter, an eved, a shivcha, who can do pidyon for the owner. Now, are we speaking about adults or children? Hi shivcha hechidami. How old is this shivcha that we're speaking about? Id asyubes saris. If she had already exhibited the mature, hair, meaning she's already an adult. My bayagabe. Why is she with him to begin with? Meaning, we know that an amma ha'ivriya, a Jewish maidservant, leaves as soon as she becomes adult. She has no business being with him. Apparently we're speaking, she's still underage. And what does the Brisa tell us? An underage individual can make pidyon. And the way some Mefarshim explain, the Rai is from the fact that they're actually taking this money, not for their own sake, in order to effect a pidyon to benefit the owner. This is a form of zikr la'achir. Taisus actually learns that we're speaking that they have already reached the minimum age required to make truma and maser, in which case they can be paida and be mechalal maser as well. And of course that's a year before adulthood. By a son it's 12 years and a day, by a daughter it's 11 years and up. In any case, they have the ability to be paida for the sake of this person, even though they're underage. That's a kasha on Rav Chizda. We see even a katan has the ability to be zoicha, to make a kinyan for the sake of somebody else. And the Gemara is assuming we're speaking about min ha-Torah, Maser Sheni, which is the Eraisa. No, Skinan, we are speaking about a lower level transaction. B'maser bezman hazeh d'Rabbanan. It's nowadays. Klal Yisrael aren't dwelling in Eretz Yisrael. The whole chiv of Truma and Maser is only d'Rabbanan. So when it comes to rabbinic transaction, even Ketanim aren't able to, provided they've reached a satisfactory level of intelligence. Asks the Gemara, but then it won't jive with the Brisa. V'amha ivriya, one of these cases involved an amha ivriya, a Jewish maidservant. How do you have that nowadays? Vatanya, the Brisa says, Ein eved ivri noyeg, el b'zman shayevel noyeg. The whole concept of it, eved ivri, and likewise amha ivriya, was only pertinent when the yovel was active, which was when Klal Yisrael was sitting in Eretz Yisrael. The whole point is that, part of the eved ivri procedure is that come yovel, he goes back home. So if you don't have the capacity to fulfill that aspect of his process, of his dinim, then you can't have an eved ivri. So evidently, we're not speaking about nowadays. Rather, way back when yovel was noyeg, when Maser Sheni was d'oraisa. So you see, a cotton can be zoichelach herim even by d'oraisa. Answers the Gemara, no, elabatzes sheni nakav d'Rabbanan. Another option to make it d'Rabbanan is that we're speaking about stuff that grew in a closed flower pot without any, perforation. In which case, it's considered detached from the ground. In which case, anything that grows in there is only chayiv in maser midrabanan because it's resembles a properly grown product. So by maser sheni drabanan, we allow a katan to be involved, but not by something which involves a din min ha-Torah. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rav, Gimel midos bekatan. We have 3 levels of maturity and intelligence with respect to a katan or a katana, which corresponds to their ability to involve themselves in various halachos of kinyan and zechir, as we're going to see. So the most basic level is that tzroyer v'zarkoi egois v'noitli. We had this yesterday. You have a katan who is old enough to discern between inedibles and edibles. So you give him a stone, he throws it away. Tzroyer v'zarkoi. Give him an egoi, something which is edible or not. V'noitli, he takes it and keeps it. So that level of intelligence and maturity allows him to be zoicha la'atzma. You give him something, it's considered his. He can look after things. He appreciates things. He understands what it means to take things and keep them. But he cannot make a kinyan on behalf of somebody else. He knows just about himself. Nothing else. And correspondingly, if it's a girl, a ketana, once she gets to this age, it enables her to get involved in kiddushin. Rashi explains, there's no father. She's an orphan. Chachamim will misaken a type of kiddushin, which is called kiddushay mi'un, her mother, her brother, or Rashi says even herself. If she's makabel kiddushin from a man, she becomes mikudeshes midrabanan, which requires mi'un to terminate that kiddushin. Mi'un means I reject him. So once she reaches this basic level of das, she can go through this process. But if it's younger than that, Rashi says, if it's younger than that, then she can't be shomer kiddushia. She has no appreciation for money or anything that's given to her for the sake of kiddushin, so it's not relevant to her. In which case, if she wants to walk away, she can just walk away. There's no kiddushin at all below this age. Next level, hapoutais, youngsters, which we discussed back on Afnates. 6, 7, 8 years old, smart enough to, understand a bit about the transaction. So we say mekhan mekach memkar metaltalin. They buy and sell metaltalin. The Chachamim will masaken this in order to allow them to look after themselves and take care of their needs. So it's considered a valid sale. We'll connect the B'ktana, and correspondingly, if she's a girl, Miskareshes B'kedushi Avia. Now we'll take it up a notch. If her father was Mekadesher, which makes a Kedushin Torah, she's considered old enough to understand what divorce means, in which case she can get divorced. But below this age, she doesn't qualify for divorce because, as we learned yesterday, she's meshalcha b'chayzeres. You send her, she comes right back. She has no appreciation for the process. She doesn't understand the seriousness of what's going on. The next level is higiu lo'inas and dar. Once you get to the point where you can make a neder, which we all know means a year before adulthood, by a boy a year before his bar mitzvah, by a girl a year before bas mitzvah, where they're able to make nedarim, vows, nedreim, neder, regdation, egdish. They make a neder, it holds. To make something hegdish, it holds. You connect the miktana. And correspondingly, if she's a girl, chaletzes, and she exhibits the signs of adulthood, the ishtei sa'aris, she can undergo the chalitza process. That's how Rashi learns. Tesis disagrees. He says, ktana, of course she can't, even if she has the ishtei sa'aris, she can't have chalitza. So he learns that we're referring to the year before the adulthood of a boy, which means 12 years old. And if a girl in that age shows signs of adulthood, she's already 12 and she's a proper adult, she can have chalitza, which according to Rava is limited to an adult. Finally, says Rava, but there's one exception. If a son wants to sell off properties that he inherited from his father, that takes, a higher level requires a higher level of intelligence and maturity to make a proper decision regarding real estate. You need to be 20 years old. Ad shehei ben esrim chachamim required. The minimum age for this is 20 years old. Continues the Mishnah. So we know that a man can make a shliach, please deliver this to my wife. In which case, the get is only activated when it arrives at that destination and is received by the Isha. On the other hand, an Isha can make a shliach l'kabbalah. Please receive this get on my behalf, in which case, as soon as he takes possession of that get, he's representing the Isha. It's as good as done. She gets divorced. Now, Ketana, who cannot appoint a shliach, right? Only a gadol can do that. So she appoints a shliach. Ketana she'amar hiskabel giti, please receive the get on my behalf. B'li mashliach l'kabbalah. It doesn't work. Eino get asher get liyada. The get only happens when she gets it, because she cannot make a shliach l'kabbalah. So if the husband decides to change his mind prior to that get arriving at the Isha's destination, so he can change his mind. She'ein katan ois shliach. A katan cannot make a shliach. However, v'im amar lo avia say v'yiskabel biti gita. If the father is around and she's still a ketana, right, and he appointed shliach l'kabbalah, please go and receive the get on my daughter's behalf. A father has the same ability as the Isha herself, and he can make a shliach l'kabbalah, and therefore, once the husband hands the get over to the shliach, it's too late. The done deal. Imratza laser lo yachzer, cannot change his mind. Ha'imr tain get liishti b'makim pleni. A husband turns to a shliach. Please hand this get to my wife in a certain city, in New York. When a son the shliach gave it to her in Chicago. Puzzle, it doesn't work. Rashi explains, he's uninterested in getting bad press in Chicago. That's where his friends live. And that's why he specified, give it in New York. He's makbid. He's particular about it. And therefore, if it's done any other way, it's possible. But if he's just advising his shliach where to find her, he's giving him her address, he's not showing particularity. It's not showing kpeda. Here's the get. Give it to my wife. Where is she? I think she's in New York. And he happened to find her in Chicago and gave it to her. They were kosher. It works. Because he was only being mar'e mokim, Rashi says. Mar'e mokim means he's indicating an address. Look, you'll find her there. Okay. But he's not being particular about it. He's not being makbid about it. He's not being absolute, and therefore it works. Likewise, on the Isha's side, Ha'isha she'amra yiskabel giti mokim pleni. And Isha makes a shliach l'kabbalah. Please receive the get on my behalf in New York. V'kibloi lo b'mokim achar, and he accepted it on her behalf in Chicago. Puzzle. It doesn't work because, again, she's being makbid on location. Here, Rabbi Lezer disagrees. Rabbi Lezer machshir. He says even in this case it works, and the Gemara will explain why. And the same thing regarding, just the address thing by the man works by the woman as well. If she wasn't particular, she wasn't absolute about it. She was just advising him, look, bring my get from this place. Sorry, the pshat here is like this. Havel legit mokim pleni means she was not asking him to be a shliach lekabbalah. Right? She says, Havel legit mokim pleni. Please bring it to me from that place. Right? You're going to be like a shliach lahilacha. Bring it to me. And he happened to bring it from a different place. But ultimately he brings it to her. He delivers it to her. In this case, even though it was a different location than she had mentioned, kosher, it still works, because when he is serving as a shliach like Kabbalah, when his being makabel the get activates the get, there we can say she's being particular. She's being makbid. I want it to happen there, not here. I want to, keep it on the wraps. I want it in a certain city where I'm not known or whatever, right? But here she's not asking for shliach l'kabbalah. She's saying, bring it to me over here. So what's the difference where he picks it up? Ultimately, he's bringing it to her. So therefore we say it doesn't matter where he's taking it from. Point of origin is irrelevant. The main thing is the destination. Now we still have one more kasha, one more halacha that we're trying to understand in the Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer. You see, Rabbi Lezer, Maishna Reishna, Delay Polig. Why is Rabbi Lezer not disagree with the Reisha? The husband is allowed to issue, non-negotiable instructions. Give it to her in that place, and we have to conform. And Rabbi Lezer doesn't seem to disagree on that. He goes along with that halacha. And if it's given in any other place, it's possible. When it comes to the Isha giving instruction, we disregard. Rabbi Lezer says it doesn't matter. She asked it to be picked up there. Even if he picked it up somewhere else, it's still kosher. Why? The answer is like this. Big difference. He's in control of the process. The man is. The husband is. The husband is the one that's controlling the process. He's the one making the get. Kapit. So he sort of has a right to be makbid. He can dictate the terms. And if you don't follow, it's possible. But it's very different on the woman's side. It's not her process. She's not in the driver's seat. She's on the receiving end of the get. So it's very nice for her to insist and say, well, I want you to be a shliach l'kabbalah in New York. Who says the husband is going to go along with that? So she can't necessarily dictate the terms. So it's preposterous to say that she's going to dictate the terms and be makbid, and we have to live with that. Right? And therefore we say, mar amokim hiloi. Apparently, even though she's dictating locations and, specific mekaymes in terms of where to be makabel the get, it's just sort of, advising him where to find a husband. It cannot be otherwise. It cannot be that she's insisting that it be done this way and not that way. Because who says husband's going to cooperate with her instructions? It would be silly for her to establish absolute terms in terms of location of shliach l'kabbalah. And therefore, Blazer holds we don't necessarily have to conform to her instructions. She's just trying to, advise him, give him a tip in terms of where to find it, but it's negotiable. It's not absolute. Continues the Mishnah. Havele giti. Okay, so the Isha asked the shliach to bring the get from her husband to her. So deliver it to me, and when I get it, I'll be nisgaresh. Don't be my shliach l'kabbalah. Bring it to me first. Okay, so actually it's machlekes rishonim whether an isha can make a shliach lahilacha. It would seem from the simple wording of the Mishnah that she could. Some rishonim learn it just means to say that I'm allowing you to accept the appointment of my husband who will make you a shliach lahilacha. But either way, bottom line is this fellow is going to serve as a delivery man. He's going to bring the get to her, and upon receiving the get, she will be in his garish. So we're speaking about an isha of a kohen, married to a kohen who was eating truma until now. She can continue eating truma until she receives the get. And the divorce is chal. But if she assigns, she appoints him a shliach l'kabbalah, right? So as soon as he finds the husband, it can happen any second. He finds him and gets the get, it's over. Asur lachal b'truma miyad. She has to stop eating truma right away. Feel concerned that perhaps he bumped into the husband a minute later and received the get. What about iskabel legiti b'makim ploni? What if she says to the shleich l'kabbalah, I want you to serve as a shleich l'kabbalah, of course, and receive my get, but in New York. And she knows it takes a day to get to New York. She can have truma until then. Right? Rabbi Lezer, going along with his opinion before, that the Isha cannot dictate the terms. So, again, Rabbi Lezer holds in this case as well, as soon as he left the home, she has to stop eating truma because maybe he happened to bump into the husband. And again, although she instructed the shliach to receive the get only in a certain location, but she has no power to dictate those terms, and that's not what she meant. All she meant to say was, look, you'll find him there, but if you happen to find him outside, sure, be my guest. Tanakama disagrees. If she dictated the location, then you have to live with that, right? And the question is like this. The Tanakama says you have to go along with her instructions, right? And therefore she can have a truma, right? Echeles b'truma. What does the Tanakama say? Echeles b'truma. Achiagia get lo yisim makam. Until the get gets to that place. What does that sound like? You know what it sounds like? She asked him to be makabel to get in New York. And it sounds like he was makabel to get in Chicago. Tanakam says, 1 second. The get is not activated until the get arrives in New York. So this fellow has to travel to New York. He got in Chicago. He has to travel to New York. And over there, the get is applied. There it's activated. And the question is, why? Why does it work at all? She asked him to receive the get in New York. And he didn't. V'gito miyahavi. Ultimately, the get is activated. V'amris resha lehav gita. In the previous Mishnah, we have learned that if he deviates from her instructions, she asked for one thing, he did something, it doesn't work. And here we say, ultimately, it works. Even if he received it elsewhere, it works, as long as he takes it to the location that she had indicated. Why? The Amalei apparently was speaking about a different type of case, a slightly different case. The Amalei, she told him like this. Look, do me a favor. Be makabel my get in a certain town. Masa machasya. Okay? Some say this is Syria. Okay. I want you to be makabel to get there. I have no friends there. I'm not worried about the bad press. Be makabel there. You know, but it so happens that my husband sometimes travels to Babel. You can sometimes find him there as well. So what did you mean to say? So this is how we're interpreting her words. She meant to say like this. You know what? Wherever you find him, you can take the get from him. I'm not makpid on where to take it from the husband. But gita lehavi, you know when the get will actually become a get? It's not going to happen ad the motos lamota machasya, until you get to mota machasya. Whatever reason she had, she wanted to delay it a bit. So it was like a condition. But it's not. I'm not insisting that you be makabel the get in mota machasya. You can find him wherever and take it from him. But the get is only chal when you get to mota machasya. And Taisa has a whole discussion. How does it work? If he wasn't really a shliach l'kabbalah until he got to mota machasya, so who's he taking it from? Taking it from himself. A whole Taisa says that ultimately he says it's just a t'nai. Of course, it's a shliach l'kabbalah from day one. But it's like, it's like making a condition. Take the get, and it's only chal, in 30 days. That's okay. So here as well. Take it wherever you can find it. But it only gets activated when you get to mata machasya. That's what the Mishnah says. In this case, of course, it works. But she has some time with truma until it gets to mata machasya. Rabbi Lezer, he says, no truma right away. Because Rabbi Lezer Lezer told us a minute ago that the Isha has no power to dictate terms and locations. She's just being ma'arhem mokim. She's just indicating to the shliach where to find the husband. She's not being makpid past that. Pshita, well, of course. Why does Rabbi Lezer have to go repeat the same concept in the second Mishnah, which is pretty much a repetition of his concept in the first Mishnah? To Mara, Mokim Hilay, she's just indicating to him where to find him. It's an address. Leitzricha. The Chiddush in the second Mishnah above the first Mishnah is like this. We're speaking about a case to Amra Le Zil Mizrach. What happened was the Isha tells the Shliach, I want you to please receive my get. Go to the east. The east Mizrach. I know my husband happens to be in the east. I know for a fact he's there. And the Shliach decided to go to the west. A totally opposite direction. So perhaps even Rabbi Lezer would agree. Fat chance that I'll find the husband there. He's not even there. Ma'odatema perhaps will say, but Ma'arif HaLesa, we know for a fact he's not there. So even Rabbi Lezer would agree that practically speaking, there is very little chance that he met up with the husband. Kamashwan the Chiddush is no. You never know. Dilma, Father the Ka'azl, maybe perhaps as he's walking along, maybe he happened to bump into the husband who changed courses, changed directions, changed his travel plans. You have a GITTEN, he happened to give him the get. So therefore Rabbi Lezer says, you never know. She loses her truma privileges right away. Okay, let's just recap this sugya for a minute before we continue. We have a certain expression which indicates kpeda. I want you to give the get to the Isha in this place and not in that place. We have a different type of expression which indicates, mara mokim, Gemara calls it. It's just indicating an address, but I'm not particular, I'm not being specific, I'm not being makpid, I'm not insisting on delivery location. So in the first case, we have to go along with what he says. In the second case, it's okay even if it was at a different location. That's in terms of the husband. Tanakama holds the same thing applies to the Isha. Unless, as we explained, she indicated that she was flexible, so we had that other case there, but typically she has the same halakha as the husband. She can either insist or not insist on the makom. On this, Rabbi Lezer disagrees. He says, the husband, he knows he can dictate the terms. So in fact, when he does so, it's absolute and non-negotiable. It's kpeda, whereas the Isha, it's not in her hands. So even though she indicated a location, but at the most she's just indicating where to find the husband. It's sort of advising and recommending, but it's not kpeda at all. And the fallout of this halacha pertains to an Isha with truma. How long does she have with her truma until we have to suspect that she got she's divorced? Okay, so on this topic of change of instruction, change of location, and whether or not we're insisting on keeping the original dictate, we have a similar sugya regarding iruve techumen. So a fellow turns to a shliach and he says, look, arev li betmarim, I want to take a long walk on Shabbos. I know I can't go past 2,000 amma beyond the city. I'd like to place an eruv techumen, which requires taking 2 meals worth of food, placing it at a specific location, which becomes his sort of Shabbos residence, which allows him to walk another 2,000 amma from there. So he tells the shliach, arev li betmarim, please take some of my dates and make the eruv. The eruv le begroiros, and he took some dried figs instead. Okay, or the other way around. Begroiros eruv le betmarim. He asked for dried figs and he took dates. Does it work? Tani chada. We have in one brisa which says eruv eruv it works. Tani idach we have a different brisa. Eruv eruv does not work. How do we reconcile this machlekes? I'm a rabbah. Bingo, this is mamash our sugya. This lines up with Rabbi Lezer and the Rabbanon. Why kasha? The answer is ha-Rabbanon. Rabbanon who told us that even the Isha has a right to insist on specific location in terms of Yimim Kabul the get. Even though, as Rashi explains, it's not really in her hands, and you can't necessarily assume that she's, being makpid, because after all, how could she be makpid about something that's not in her control? Nevertheless, she says A, you have to do A, you can't do B. Here as well. The shliach didn't follow instructions. I asked for dates, and he did figs. Even though there isn't much of a difference between the two. Fact is, I asked for the Erev, and you made the Erev. It's not considered a shlichus. It's not an Erev. That's one brisa. Ha Rabbi Lazar. The other brisa which says that it works is Rabbi Lazar. And the more explains. Ha Rabbanon. Rabbanon say it don't work. Doesn't work. The Amri Kpeda. They hold in any case. I asked for A, you did B. It's considered Kpeda in particular. Even though it isn't isn't much reason to think that I should care whether it was done with this or that. But if I asked for something, you have to follow. You have to conform. Ha Rabbi Lazar. Whereas the other brisa is Rabbi Lazar. Just like by the Isha we say, she's not necessarily being particular, even though she mentioned something, but we interpret it in a way that's not makpid. Here as well, even though I specified this, but if there's no special reason to be makpid, we assume you're not being makpid and the Erev works. That's one approach. Rav Yosef Amar, he has a different approach. Ha v'ha Rabbanon. Both of our brises by Erev are following Shitas Rabbanon. So how do we reconcile the apparent contradiction? It depends whose material is being used for the Erev. Kan b'shaloi. So as Rashi explains, first of all, we have to know that the svara here will be that, sure, the Rabbanon, when it comes to a get, they hold that even the Isha's instructions have to be followed to the T. She wants her get to happen in this town, not in that town. There's a reason for it. It's justified. It makes sense. Okay, but when it comes to Erev, it depends. Kan b'shaloi. If his shliach is using the mishaleach as the sender's material, there's absolutely no reason why he would care whether he used figs or dates. After all, he's trying to make an Erev. However it works, whatever it takes to happen. And therefore we say it works either way. But the other brayse, which says Ein Eruva Erev, is speaking where Reuven turned to Shimon. Do me a favor. Levi gave me permission to take some of his dates. Could you use those dates for my Erev? And he used his figs. You have no right to take Levi's figs. He allowed me his dates, not his figs. It certainly makes sense. I'm being makpid. There's a reason why I asked you for this and not for that. I don't want to take something that I'm not authorized to take, so it doesn't work. Amalei Abaye. So Abaye responded to Rav Yosef. But how are we going to explain the next price? So he turns to the shliach. Arav li b'migdal. Please take my Erev Techumen and put it into a arm or a large container, okay, closet. Instead, he took it and put it into a birdhouse, a different type of structure. Or he asked him to put it b'migdal. So he was off on the location, slightly off. Tani Chad, we have one brayse which says it works. Eruva Erev. Tani Yidach, we have a different brayse. Eruva Erev doesn't work. So your pshat to the friendship between my material, my friend's material, it doesn't work over here. Here, this teretz wouldn't apply. Why would his friend care if he put it into a migdal or a shoivach? Right? So even if it's his friend's migdal and shoivach, why would the friend care if I put it here or there? So how could you explain why it doesn't work? This distinction between mine and my friends in particular, why would he be particular about this or that location? Answers the Gemara. No, let's reinterpret the brayse. Arev li b'migdal isn't about location. It's about taking the Erev material from the migdal. Arev li b'shoivach means take the Erev material, the fruit, whatever it is sitting in the shoivach. And he switched it around. He took the other fruit. So yeah, it's a different type of material. So it's exactly like the previous brises, like the dates and the figs. So the same that we answered over there can be explained over here as well. In some cases, there is kpeda. If it's his friend's material, which he switched around, which he had no rishus to take, or it's his own material, then there's no kpeda, and therefore it works. Okay, so again we have an eruv which was placed, but the shliach did not follow instructions. One brisa says okay, one brisa says not okay. We have Rabbi's pshat. According to Rabbanan, there is a kpeda on these things. According to Belazar, there is no kpeda, which corresponds to the machlekes in the Mishnah regarding the isha's dictation of location. Rav Yosef says a totally different pshat. We're only concerned about kpeda when there's a reason for kpeda, such as when it's his friend's material, which he doesn't have rishus over. Okay, continues the Mishnah. Ha'omer kisvu get utnu li'ishti. In this Mishnah, in the Gemara, we're going to explore many phrases and expressions and lashonos, and try to figure out and determine whether they indicate divorce. So a husband can express himself in all different ways, which resemble sending his wife away, writing her a get, but do they all mean, do they all absolutely indicate divorce? So let's see. He turns to, a couple of people, he says, do me a favor, write a get. Now, let's realize the lashon get can be a reference to any sort of formal document. We had this the other day, gittei mamain, right? Kisvu get, write a get for my wife. Kisvu get, nu li'ishti. So it works. Why? Says Rashi, around halfway down the Ovid, Masnis and Kisvu get li'ishti, lashem b'nei adam hu. Kvar hichsike bo likris l'sefer krisis shaget. Because the common, way of referring to a sefer krisis, a divorce document, is get. So that's a derech hayil, lashem b'nei adam. That's why we treat it as such. Continues the Mishnah. Well, let's say he said, gerushuha, divorcer. Kisvu igeras, write an igeras. What's an igeras? Can mean a letter. Right? I'll give it to her. However, in all these cases, we treat it as a tzivoy habal, as though he instructed us to write a get. Right? Rashi says again, Gershua is also the minhag is to relate to divorce as gerushin, and the same thing with the geras. So Rashi, let's go back to Rashi here on the Mishnah. Gershua nami kvar noa go likros gerushin, and the same thing with kisvu geras nula. Gamze loshin haget. Interesting. Over here Rashi says, because we find the loshin igeras, the word igeras, included in the actual text of the get. Shekois from boy v'dein the aveliche minai seifet eruchen v'igeras shivukin. Igeras of disengagement. So that's why the word igeras alludes to a get. But, continues the Mishnah, what about pateruha? Now, pateruha can mean either, divorce her, get her away, or it can mean exempt her, notion of patur. Look, she owes a lot of money, pay her for debts for me, for her, please. Right? Pateruha, parnasua. It can either mean, do what she needs. She needs to get divorced, write her a get. Parnasua can also mean provide for her needs, support her. Asolo kenimus, do to her as is proper. Can have a lot of meanings. Asolo karoi, do for her what is supposed to be done. Lo'emar klom, it's meaningless because you have no idea what he meant. There's no clear indication of gerushin. Tanur Rabbanan, the brisa we had several more expressions. Shalachua, send her away. Shavakuha, also a lashon of, detach her from me. Taruchuha, Rashi says lashon teruchen gerushin. Harei lichtav yisnu. In all these cases, the Adam can write and give her the get. However, pateruha, parnasua, asulo kanimus, asulo karoy, exactly like our Mishnah. Lamar klum, it doesn't mean anything. Tanya. However, in this brisa we have a dissenting view. Rabbi Nasan Eimer. One of these lashonos does mean get. You know which one? Pateruha. The husband says to a couple of people, Pateruha, Dvar of Kayaman. We take it as instructions for a get. Why? Because, you see, in the get itself, we actually have this lashon. Get piturin. Piturin here is an Aramaic, an Arami. It means send off. B'mishalech the isha. So when he says patiruha, send her away, like shalchu, right? Dabru, shabru, Rashi says. So patiruha with a dagesh, patiruha, do something that affects her, send her away. So Darav Kayam indicates divorce, but pitiruha lo yamar klum. Pitiruha has a totally different meaning. You see, because these three letters, Peites Reish, can have two totally different meanings. In Aramaic, in Arami, it's a lashon of shiluach, sending away. So paterua, send her away. But lashon kodesh, it's a lashon of patur, exemption, like we said in the Mishnah. So pitrua, please exempt her. Do something that will affect her exemption from her debts. Paterua, do something to her, send her away. Piterua, do something which will make her pater. Totally different context, totally different meaning. So in no way does it indicate with absoluteness that it's a get. It's an unknown, therefore we can't do the get. So that's Reb Nassan's twist. Paterua works, but Piterua not. But interestingly enough, our, Mishnah didn't make that distinction. Why? Amar Rabba. Rabba comes to the rescue. He comes to explain why. Rabbi Nassan de Bavlahu. See, Rabbi Nassan came up from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. So he was well versed in Aramaic, which is one of the languages they spoke in Bavel. They spoke a mix of Aramaic and Lashon Kodesh. And therefore, Rabbi Nassan de Bavlahu dayek bein pitrua lepatrua. He made that distinction between one and the other. So if you're accustomed to speaking two languages, you have to differentiate. Paterua is indicative of Lashon Peter and Arami. And Paterua means send her away, affect her, make her sent away. Whereas Piterua, that's closer to Lashon Petur, Lashon Kodesh. And therefore Piterua just means do something that will exempt her. Nothing to do with divorce. As opposed to Tana de Dan, the Bar Eretz Yisrael, our Tana, who lived in Eretz Yisrael, who spoke strictly Ivri, Lashon Kodesh. Therefore, the Lashon Arami wasn't part of his lexicon. Loidiak. So he makes no distinction between Patrua, Pitrua, because if it's all Lashon Kodesh, and there is no indication of divorce. It's only in Arami that we say get Piturin, and therefore Paterua indicates send her away, divorce her. But Lashon Kodesh, Peites Reish, strictly refers to Ptur and Chiyuv, exemption and obligation. So Patrua, Pitrua, it's all the same thing. Lashon of Ptur, exempt her, pay her for debts, pay her for credit cards. That doesn't mean Gerush. Iboilu, here comes another question. What if he tells the Edom, is it in line with the pasuk of Gerushin, V'yatzah mibeisai, right? Or is it just, have her leave? It's you mau. Izvuha mau. Abandon her. Is that indicative of get, where it says Gerush shivukin, lashon of letting go, or is it just circumstantially, not get related? Hitiruha mau, hanichuha mau, ha'ilula mau, asula kadas mau. So what all these lashonos, do they have any connection to get? Shot miachada, perhaps we can at least conclude on one of these lashonos. From the Brisa, the Sanya, asula kadas, asula kanimus, asula karoi, lo yamar klum. So we see clearly that asula kadas is meaningless, and that at least concludes one of those lashonos. That kadas is just, do whatever's proper, is necessarily an indication of get, and therefore, lo yamar klum. Okay, so let's summarize today's daf. A katan, when he gets to a certain point, he can be zeicher on behalf of himself. What about on behalf of somebody else? We had a machlekes yesterday. We tried to prove one way or the other from this price of Ma'aser Sheni, where we said, it's the Rabbanan. When it comes to Dini, the Rabbanan, yes. Even a katan can sometimes be zeicher la'achirim. Rava sets forth 3 or 4 levels of of age and intelligence regarding various halachas. We had a discussion about specific locations indicated by the husband, indicated by the wife. So according to the Tanakh, there's no difference. If they're particular, you have to comply. Otherwise, you just assume it's a general recommendation, which isn't binding. Lezer holds when it comes to the wife, she's never trying to be absolute. She's just trying to recommend and indicate where to find the husband. We said it has ramifications regarding an Eishes Kohen. How soon does she have to stop eating Truma? We had a similar discussion regarding a switched Eruv. And we had a Mishnah and a Gemara regarding some Lashonos that do work, considered instructions as per divorce, and some which are not, and some which are up in the air, unknown. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.